Hey guys, what's up? Game Pizza Boy here, host of the Pizza Party. Hope you're all doing great. And in today's video, I thought about discussing everything about so far with the Overwatch 2 patch notes that were just released since yesterday, but now it's released today for the Season 3 of Overwatch 2. So I thought about kind of going over it, explain everything, including some of the different hero changes and updates, the new map, the streamer protection mode, the return of Overwatch 2 credits, and a lot of other cool features as well to explain. So I hope you guys really enjoy this, enjoy me in this fun little adventure just to go over and explain this. Also, just as you can see, I'm doing a little bit new by just coming out here on my camera, just talking with you guys and show you my reaction to stuff and kind of get my thoughts. So it'll be a little fun to do besides just simply just showing gameplay all the time. I thought it'd be a little more fun that way and engage with you guys a little bit more. So this will be kind of a little fun little treat right here. Before we begin, however, though, if you do enjoy this video, make sure you hit the like button if you do find this supportive and helpful. If you want to leave your comments down below and tell me your thoughts on so far with this patch notes and season 3, definitely let me know. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. And if you want to help really support the channel, subscribe. It will really help out a lot, very much indeed. And you can go to my multi-link down below if you want to keep in touch with everything on my socials going on for the Pizza Party, including also when I go live on twitch.tv/gamingpizzaboy. So hey, some fun right there at the Pizza Party live. With that being said, let's get into it and talk about everything going on for the patch notes. Let's do it. All right, now we are here right now at the patch notes. Obviously, we'll be going through everything that's been discussed right now since yesterday, and it's been released already just today for season 3. So let's go ahead and go over it, and we'll see what they got, as well as also give my thoughts on it. I've already read about it, of course, and I'll be giving, of course, my thoughts on it. And I definitely want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. So definitely leave them out and let me know what you guys think. So let's begin. First up, obviously, is the intro. Obviously, starting off, it is the retail patch notes for Overwatch 2 on February 7th. 2023 for season 3. Of course, obviously season 3 has just been released for this. Drop into season 3 to explore the depths of the coolest new control map, Antarctic Peninsula. Compete in a limited time in-game events such as Ultimate Valentine, which is obviously for Valentine's Day since it is February, so go out for that. Customize your heroes with new skins and cosmetics from the Battle Pass and weekly shop drops. Now earn credits in the Battle Pass that can be redeemed for over 250 cosmetics from the original Overwatch, and go premium to get exclusive rewards such as the Mythic Amaterasu Kiriko. So there's a lot of packed stuff right there going on right now as we speak. So a lot to discuss right there. For the new map, obviously, they have the Antarctic Peninsula. Journey across the frozen Antarctic Peninsula, discover the abandoned station where the Overwatch Eco Point team once search for the source of a dangerously anomaly threatening the world, and explore the wreckage of the icebreaker ship that failed to rescue Mei Ling Zhao and her friends. This one I got pretty interested, especially when I saw the screenshots for it. I cannot wait to hopefully get around to trying the map for myself. I hope you're all enjoying it too. I am pretty excited about this. I actually do like the idea that they're actually giving us a map that takes place just around the area where we obviously know Mei and her friends were last seek off into the wreckage of the icebreaker ship when investigating that so-called obviously dangerous anomaly that was threatening the world. So it's probably gonna be the same location we've seen during the cool trailer that we showed that was showing off Mei and her character and her origin story. So it's pretty interesting to see where that map goes for. I'm pretty enticed to see what it's gonna be all about very much when we get a good look of it. So I'm definitely gonna be getting through it for sure and kind of looking at all the details. So big hype on that for sure indeed. Next is the new feature, which is going to be good for a lot of content creators and streamers, and it's called Streamer Protect. They state that players can now activate Streamer Protect options in game settings, and these options will provide with ways to hide identifying information when live streaming matches. Now, that's one good thing they're at least now doing this now, which I'm pretty happy about. Now it'll make it a little bit easier for all the streamers who might be getting stream sniped or are getting targeted very easily. But I do say, though, the idea they're going for is just mostly a client situation right there by the looks of it. I think so. As it mentions, just hiding identifying information. It's nothing like trying to prevent them from just like getting into your lobby very easily or finding ways to sneak past through the system in some ways, or just knowing how to find a way to focus on you pretty easily when they're trying to target you very much. So I think it's mostly just a client situation more, and not really like just in general something we could do. Who I seen, but like I seen like with Dead by Daylight, for example, having their own like streamer kind of mode in some way that lets you hide your stuff when you're streaming and hide other people's names and even hide your name to others. So something like that kind of is really useful in some ways. For that reason, I think they should expand that more in a better way, especially when streaming, of course, obviously, but also there should be a little more better ways to kind of make sure it's like they can't like get themselves into your game very easily too. So I hope that this is just the first step into something more to it, but I mean, who knows? This could be a really good feature, so I like to see what's all about. I'll definitely be testing it out for myself. Next, now moving on, is the general updates. Of course, there obviously is plenty of general updates to go over, and I'll give my thoughts on them too. First, we'll start with is the accessibility improvements. They, of course, are doing just some typical subtitle improve options, so better ways to kind of do your subtitles. So text scalability, character portrait icons, speaker name, text color, background color, subtitle preview in the options menu, and added mouse cursor size setting for your PC as well. Added setting to select colors for group and alert colors in the UI, and preview feature added to preview custom colors in the accessibility options. So nice. Just some nice cool little improvements just to the UI. Some pretty cool stuff right there. I do like what they're going for. So not bad, not bad. Challenges also get some pretty cool stuff, including adding challenges to unlock the silhouette player icons for every hero. Added tracking for each of the roles for the weekly role mastery challenge as well. So you guys get a little more better tracking for that. Added now all of Ramatra's unlock challenges. So now Ramatra's gonna get his unlock challenges. Partial progress through the Season 3 Battle Pass now is carried over to the wins for Ramatra Challenge. So that means any partial progress you do throughout Season 3 of the Battle Pass will now be carried over to the wins for Ramatra Challenge as well. So for all you guys trying to get your challenges done right there you guys go. Endorsements, now you can actually endorse your opposing teammates now, and even also endorse even everyone very easily within free-to-play mode. So this is nice too. So I can always now endorse those who are from the enemy team if they've done very fantastic. I want to give them that endorsement. So that is really good. I'm glad they're doing that. Game report related stuff they're doing is that they now make it where players can view scoreboards from previous matches within the View Game Reports menu found in the History tab of the career profile. So now you can view the scoreboards from any previous match you've done with others, or even others, within the View Game Reports menu whenever finding it within the History tab of the career profile. So that's pretty nice to kind of add a little bit to that more for better game reports, so that you can keep track if there's something obviously very fishy going on with certain games, like someone's cheating, for example, and you can then take that into the next level by looking at their current scoreboard going on within that match, so you know, like their kill death ratio and all that stuff and everything else going on pretty much. So pretty interesting to see where that kind of goes for. That's really good. I'm glad they added something like that. Moving on, next now is the mystery hero changes they're doing. They're doing some pretty cool changes for the mystery hero game mode, and that is that now it limits each team to a maximum of 3 of each role. So that means, for example, as they mentioned, that if you are Reinhardt in mystery heroes and your team includes, say, Mercy, Anna, Lucio, so that's 3 supports, and you die, you will not respawn as a support hero because you already have 3 enough. So that's all right, the limit cap right there. So you'll either spawn as a DPS like Cassidy, Bastion, Ace, Pharah, you name it, or back to your similar tank heroes like Reinhardt, Orisa, Ramatra, Junker Queen, you get it. So this will make it a little bit easy for balances. However, though, they do state that at least still the new maximum role limit can still be changed in many ways if you go into custom games. So you can be able to do it by under settings, modes, all, and random hero role limit per team. This setting only functions when the respawn as random hero setting is enabled. So just do all that in custom games and you can get right back to the original way Mystery Heroes was like before this update. But once now, if you get onto online Mystery Heroes, this will be now the new thing right there. You can only have the 3 of any of these heroes of certain categories. So if you have 3 DPS, you won't be able to switch to a DPS if you die before they are. You will end up being a tank or a support. So be mindful in that. Moving on now is probably the most exciting part right here for all you guys who are grinding out there, and that is now Overwatch credits is back. That's right. Now they're available, which were previously labeled legacy credits and were not earnable in Overwatch 2, can now be earned once more throughout just progressing in the Season 3 Battle Pass, and probably for all now from there on now. So that's pretty cool. So now you'll get a little more better grind to get those credits for you to buy for like more battle passes, skins you like, anything like that pretty much. All players can earn up about 1,500 credits as free rewards and another 500 when available through the premium rewards. So if you bought the battle pass. So that's pretty cool as well. Nice little grind right there too to earn something out of that. So that's fantastic. Credits can now be spent in the hero gallery as well, which now contains nearly every seasonal, epic, and legendary skin tier skins released prior to the launch of Overwatch 2. And this includes many skins that were previously only available for purchase with the coins in the Just For You section of our shop. So for all you guys who like get some cool skins out there for the epic and legendary tier skins, now prior to like Overwatch 2 of the launch, now you guys can. So I'm definitely going to be trying to grind a lot, hopefully so, and get my hands on some of those nice little juicy little tips right there. Get some nice little credits and hopefully get some cool skins, because I did got a lot of characters I need to get some cool skins. Definitely got to pick out some in mind. Moving on, next now is the ping system update. You press the ability button on either 1 or 2, for example, whenever the ping wheel is open, and it will actually print the cooldown into your chat. So if you happen to have a cooldown on Baptiste's immortality field, you can press the key button while the ping wheel is open, and it will actually print in chat. So it's a nice way to alert your teammates and let you know if your abilities are still on cooldown. So I think it's another way for communication. So if they're expecting to pop something and you haven't yet, they'll at least now know that you're on cooldown. So this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. I like about this indeed. I do like that more better communication, but better. Next is competitive play, which is a really cool, nice little thing they're obviously adding for season 3, where in mind they added now a way to help better improve the competitive experience, especially whenever proving yourself through the skill tiers and divisions. They state season 3 competitive play begins now. Here's some of the latest updates aimed at improving the competitive experience in Overwatch 2. They are now making where skill tiers and divisions will now adjust after every 5 wins or 15 losses and or ties, instead from the 7 wins and 20 and or ties that were before. So quite a little downgrade right there to certain how many wins or losses you need to have to obviously see the effect and adjustment of your skill tier and or divisions. Players can now also select the View Competitive Progress button from the competitive menu to view their progress towards receiving a rank update. So now it's a better way now to kind of know when it's going to be a good time to adjust your rank in your division, your skill, everything else within competitive, and also keep track of it now. So this is pretty cool for all you guys who like to play the hell out of competitive. So get out there and get those high skill tiers, guys. Next up now is the workshop updates. The workshop editor has been returned, and they're adding some moderation tools, which lets you have new options to report players. And their goal is to give more players a way to report inappropriate behavior so that we can take action in a timely manner. As a result, you can select the category and subcategory that best explains why you are reporting the player or their custom content. And this includes obviously major categories like inappropriate communication, inappropriate name, cheating, gameplay sabotage, and inappropriate custom content. So a better way now to kind of help you flesh out a better way to moderate and report those who might be doing some very bad behavior in the game. So there you guys go. New way to report some cool stuff right there. So we'll see how that kind of goes for it. Definitely will be a nice, cool, clean way. Get those nasty cheaters or those nasty players out there just out of the spotlight right there when they're busy just doing stupid stuff like, you know, being racist or something like that, or just trying to break the game and all that stuff and purposely and ruin the fun for everyone. So hey, there you guys go. Some nice little cool stuff right there. Now moving on now is to some hero updates. Now obviously there's a lot to talk about with hero updates. Now I'll be going through first of all the big top thing right here at first, and I'm going to go through some of the ones that are mostly getting minor changes and then talk about some of the big major ones. First, we'll start with obviously what every hero is getting right now. First is the fact that the maximum ultimate charge now has been retained whenever swapping heroes has now been reduced from 30 to 25%. Developers comment that after this patch, they wanted there was a tuning patch for how often ultimate abilities are being generated, and now they expect to see several ultimate cost adjustments across multiple heroes along with this at the same time as well. One of the most biggest ones, however, that's really going to make a big change over the game is that now there's a passive tank thing to the tank role, which is now that every health state a total for all tank heroes will now be lower than before, or than their main ones from any other game mode that does not have a role queue. And health totals will remain the same aim for tanks as long as you play a role queue enabled game mode. The way they said this is that they want to make the change to the tank HP pools to help address the relative power of those heroes in game modes where you can also be multiple of them on the same team. This is honestly fantastic to hear, because now that means many tanks will now have to go downgrade a little bit more and will basically become obviously a little bit more weaker than a little before, but still be a little strong at their own level pretty much. But at least makes it better for other players who don't just play tank, so they can at least compete with that and deal with other teammates who might all just keep on playing just tank the whole time, because there's some situations right there that can be very risky with the amount of health they have. So that's pretty good to notice. And we'll go over quickly each of them right now before we get to some of the major ones. These are all the heroes right now that have been pretty much changed in many situations. First up is obviously D.Va. D.Va right now, first of all, is obviously staying at 350, but on non-roll Q modes, it will be reduced to 200. So now 200 health for her. Doomfist remains at 450, but goes down to 300 when it's non-roll Q modes. Junker Queen actually got quite a small buff to her main health in general, and now instead of being around 425, it went up by another 25, and now she has 450 health. But when she goes to non-roll Q modes, she'll be down to 300. So obviously, probably for this reason, is to give her a little more health increase, just to have that more, so that's pretty cool. Orisa, she stayed at 275 as well for her, but she goes down to 125 in non-roll Q modes. One thing they did do, however, though, is the augmented fusion driver, her main, obviously, weapon. The damage fall of range has now been reduced from 25 to 15 meters. So now, instead of now just being around the same damage she makes up to 25 meters at least, she now has to be much closer to the point to keep the damage from dropping off. So you have to stay within at least 15 meters or at least closer to the enemy to still deal the same damage. Otherwise, once you go any further than that, the drop off will happen. So now that's quite a little bit of a nerf right there for her damage. Ramatra also got some quite changes right here as well. The developers do comment, however, though, mentioning especially for his ultimate they did onto this, which we're about to get into, is that they potentially know how much it lasts forever. And it can be an exciting concept, but in reality, it's too easy to do because it causes a lot of frustrations. And with now Ramatra's ultimate in particular, an excessive amount of visual noise. So they limit it to the point now where it will last only a certain amount of time based on the damage you deal with the ultimate, which will still likely be highly impactful for most team fights, but it will guarantee it will end in a reasonable amount of time, which we're about to get to. First is his health. He stays at 450, but goes down to 300 in non-roll Q modes. But the annihilation, which is what the main goal the developers talk about, is the fact that now you can only keep the time going whenever you damage enemies with the ultimate, but instead of lasting permanently, it will now last up to 20 seconds. So at least when it does that, it will mostly slow down the timer, and usually the estimate time is around 20 seconds. So that's apparently how much you can do right there. So as long as you keep damaging enemies, it will just instead slow the duration timer, and they say it lasts about 20 seconds. So this is pretty nice, at least, so that it still is strong, but it will not end permanently. It will at least do it for still the strength until you keep damaging, and then after that, it will still reach the point where it will end. So this will still encourage other heroes going against Ramatra to be very careful being close to them, because again, it will still obviously take a long time if they stick around. But this also encourages Ramatra to be mindful, because even though they run in there and slow the timer, it will last for only a good amount of time, but it will go away very soon as possible, especially if they're not close by. So be mindful on that situation right now. Reinhardt is someone I'm actually quite shocked by, because he got a very, very serious nerf to the situation right now, which I am unfortunate to see right now, not gonna lie. And the developers explained they wanted to make similar to how fashion of Roadhog's chain hook combo changes last season. They generally like to avoid heroes in the tank role from just killing enemies with one shot. And this explains about with this situation with Earth Shatterer, obviously, which is his ultimate, which the direct hit damage is now being reduced with that goal in mind. In most cases, targets on the receiving end will now die anyway just during the knockdown stun, but it does not open up some potential for their allies to intervene. So basically their main goal is to try to make, for example, many attacks they would normally give you an easy one hit like Earth Shatterer to be a less chance to get one hit. So now, while this ability will still keep most targets on the receiving end to die very quickly because of the knockout stun, but now it opens up for potential for the allies to then intervene, obviously, to help out. For now, they've decided that they're fine with the charge pin staying lethal to many characters due to the difficulty and risk involved. Of course, with this, the fire strike damage has now been increased, so that means it could once again one shot when combined with usually Baptiste's amplification matrix, but that does require an ultimate combo with another hero as well, and they want to see how it plays before any adjustments need to be as necessary. The rocket hammers, what they mention, is also knockback has been reduction. Sounds like a loss of power, though. It is actually just simply aiming to reduce the number of times Reinhardt accidentally knocks enemies out of his melee range. So this is where everything you need to explain right here. So first, his health will remain at 325, but it will go down to 175 whenever playing non-roll Q modes. His rocket hammer is now, his knockout impulse has now been reduced from 10 to 6 meters. His charge is now cooldown has been reduced just by 1 second from 8 to 7 seconds. Fire strike has now been increased from 90 to 100 damage. So now you're at least now going to be able to one hit it once again if you combine that with at least another current known ultimate combo and also the amplification matrix from Baptiste. And Earth Shatter got quite the nerf right here. The damage direct hit has been reduced from 250 to 170. The knockout duration has been increased from 2.5 to 2.75. And ultimate cost has now been increased by 7%. So very much quite a lot of changes right there. So this encourages much more better with the fire strike and a little more with the charge. But you can see now with the rocket hammer, obviously the situation though is that they want to make it obviously help reduce the number of times Reinhardt can basically just knock enemies out of his melee range very easily. So this will obviously make it a little bit harder for that reason to happen. But the main nerf is Earth Shatter because they want to prevent more one-hit kills very easily. So their idea for this is to reduce the damage a little bit more. They made it more easy to get knockdown duration from that. And the ultimate just costs a little bit more. So quite a very serious nerf, as much as I don't really agree that they should have done this much, because Reinhardt really has not been getting much love in the department right now as is with the nerfs he's gotten previously. But hopefully maybe this will find some use to it, hopefully so. And hopefully maybe they'll find a way to see how the gameplay goes. If some things need to be tuned up or tuned down or changed altogether and revert. So I like to see how this plays out very much, but who knows, maybe Reinhardt will be pretty interesting. So only one to find out. Roadhog, obviously we know he's getting some changes as well, although these changes are not what you expected because they're not as big as what everyone was probably expecting for Roadhog. They do explain that allowing Roadhog to use his abilities during his ultimate made him much more reliable in a solo tank environment, though doing so often much like just canceling the ultimate as it ran out of time. They decided to add a few seconds to the maximum duration to increase the flexibility of players during the whole Hog ultimate, but they said they will keep an eye out if it's simply just too much damage or knockback overall. So it's not really much of the nerf we expected, obviously, for Roadhog a little more, but maybe there will be some more obvious changes down the line. So let's give this a little chance at least. Basically what they did is that his health will stay at 700, but it will go down to 550 when in non-roll Q mode. So he still has quite a lot of health right there. And Whole Hog mostly got the treatment for this. His duration when using it has been increased from 6 to 8 seconds now, so you'll have a little more time to use it. But the ultimate cost has also been increased by 8%. So a little buff and nerf to the situation, a little more you have to do to get it up, and also a little more time you can use at least to use the ultimate. So I was hoping we would see more nerfs to the situation, so hopefully we'll see more down the line. One thing I'm a little concerned for, just to say as I read this, is because of how much health he still has in non-roll Q modes, and it's like 550. He's still got a lot of health compared to the many other ones right there, very much. So I wonder how it's going to play out in non-roll Q modes with Roadhog, because again, with Roadhog like that, that's a lot of health. So hopefully that won't be too much for a lot of people to take him out. But for now, let's just wait and see how that goes. Sigma obviously got small treatment right here. He stays at 350, but goes down to 200 when in non-roll Q modes. Graviton Flux has now been increased of its ultimate cost by 7%. Winston obviously stays 350, but goes down to 200 in non-roll Q modes. His health from the barrier projector has been reduced from 700 to 650, so a little slight nerf right there, of course, to Winston. So Winston obviously got a little slight nerf right there to his ability, but it's just fine by me. I think it's just okay right there pretty much. Wrecking Ball definitely got some pretty changes right here. The developers comment that they wanted to give Wrecking Ball a few changes in the transition to the 5v5, so he proved it as one of the most effective solo tanks in early testing. His extreme mobility and massive health will enable him to choose when to fight much more freely than other heroes. These changes are aimed at to reduce the downtime that he can press the advantage even further, so making it easier to get into the action more quickly without needing to go search for as many health packs as possible, since obviously he does have a lot of health, but it does take a lot more health packs to, of course, get him back in business. So obviously, first of all, in the normal roll Q mode out, he's actually been reduced of his base health from 600 to 450. So it's now just simply 450 for the normal health. And it will go down to 300 when in non-roll Q modes. But he's now been given a 150 shield health increase as well. So now he has some shield health additionally to that as well. So now this will make it easier to, like, obviously just simply just go get like at least like a big med kit basically, and you'll be able to pretty much get yourself fully recovered very easily. In addition, because of those extra shield health, and you can get in the action much easily and be just fine. So this will hopefully make things a little more easier for those players playing Wrecking Ball with health and not have to go run around look for health packs. Pile Driver got a cooldown reduction from 10 to 8 seconds, so a little short to the Pile Driver ability. And his Minefield has been given kind of, I guess, like a nerf and a buff slightly. His ultimate cost has been increased by 9%, so you have to get a little more to get the Minefield. But his arming time for Minefield has now been reduced from 1.5 to just 1 second. So it takes just a second to just get your Minefield armed up and ready to go. So it's a little, I guess, like a slight little buff right there, basically, because it gets it armed pretty ready to go. So that's pretty cool right there. Zarya, obviously small changes right here. Ultimate cost increased by 8% for the Graviton Surge. Her health is staying at 250, but it will go down to 100 and non-roll Q modes, which I'm actually quite a little bit shocked by, because again, that's 100. So that's like almost like, that's like a little bit on par with some of the heroes, a little bit down like damage and support and stuff like that. And it's gonna be very low, but although I think it makes sense though, due to the fact that she does have abilities that require her to use like shield for her and her allies. So I kind of see where they're going for. So I'm okay with this a little bit more, honestly, not gonna lie. Just gotta hope it can last a little bit longer in some way. So we'll see where that kind of goes for. Cassidy, he's getting some pretty changes right here as well. First of all is that they mentioned obviously his combo roll not being blocked by players is mostly a small quality of life change to make the ability feel smoother, particularly when rolling in a direction that you're not facing. So they basically made it where now in his combo roll, movement is no longer blocked by enemy player collision. So this makes it easier to obviously get better with movement more easily, and you won't just be blocked whenever using that. So that's pretty cool right there. His Peacekeeper hand cannon, its damage primary fallout range has now been increased from 20 to 25 meters. So that means that this weapon's going to be more encouraged to obviously a lot more far away range attacks, because now literally at least 25 meters of the range now where you can go for, before eventually, if you go too far than that, it will eventually reach the drop off and you'll see the primary fire fall off very much. So that's pretty interesting to see where that kind of goes for that reason. So the fire fall off when you fire your gun for its range is now a little more further now to be reached for. Otherwise, if you go too far than that, then it's just not going to reach out pretty well. So nice little small ups right here. 2 Cassidy and clean little fix to the combat roll. I'm actually happy by that more, because I remember how much it gets annoying to get blocked by enemy collisions when using that. So hey, that's pretty cool right there. Junkrat obviously is getting some pretty cool stuff as well, which is like a slight nerf pretty much. Not really cool, obviously, but I mean, still, hey, it's a nice little nerf, I would say. And that's just his concussion mine. What I mentioned for the, since the concussion mine has already have a damage fall off, the further from the explosion the enemy player is, they decide lowering the maximum damage will require Junkrat to be more slightly accurate to achieve the same legality with some of his combos. So this will require you to really, really now be careful with your combos and be very accurate when throwing your concussion mine to get the full damage from like one hit a character now. The damage has been reduced obviously from 120 to 100, so slight nerf right there. No big deal, that's fine. I think it's not bad at all. I think it's pretty cool. Farah, Reaper also all got themselves some pretty cool buffs in their way. May and Pharaoh's ultimates have been reduced of their cost by 5%, so you'll get a little more chance to get your Blizzard and Barrage. Reaper got an 8% reduction cost to his ultimate for Death Blossom. Soldier 76, developer comments mentioned that, of course, to help adjust the gun, make it feel more better than strictly trying to add power, but it does have an effect on both. It makes the weapon handle more similar to the original version in that you could burst fire more accurately before the recoil kicks in. Basically, what they did to this heavy pulse rifle, they made it where now the number of shots to reach a maximum recoil increase is now from 4 to 6. So obviously, it will take up to 6 shots in total to eventually start preparing to reach the maximum recoil to kick in. And the recoil has been reduced by 12%. So obviously, they made it a little more encouraged to make Soldier a little more better to help better aim more easily so that you could be able to hit those shots still pretty well, obviously. But of course, obviously, you will still deal with the recoils, but it's just not as easily frequent. So the recoil's been reduced, so you won't have as much as it once was before. And it will just take about now 6 shots before eventually the maximum recoil just kicks in there, obviously. So kind of makes it a little more easier for him. That's quite a buff right there. I do like that. Pretty interesting right there too. Sombra also got some pretty cool buffs right here as well. They basically explained that Sombra has been underperforming after her last round of changes. While we make progress on the small rework for her abilities, the damage increase that is included in this will help strengthen Sombra even against targets that aren't affected by her hack effect. It's also a small increase to her projectile of damage, but it adds up quickly due up to her faster fire rate as well. The health pack duration increase is also a minor buff to avoid needing to rehack them so quite often. So basically, the machine pistol, its damage per projectile is now been increased from 7 to 7.5. So until they work on this, they're giving her a little nice little buff to her damage, which will be nice for her so that she can deal some pretty good damage. And obviously, that's a fast weapon to use, so it'll be pretty quick on that. And the hack ability now has the ability to hack health packs more longer from 30 seconds to 45 seconds. So now it will last a little bit more. So you don't have to keep on just hacking the same one and over and over and over again. It will last a little bit more longer now to use when you're hacking a health pack. So this makes it harder for enemies to get the health pack in that one spot, and it makes it easier for your teammates to get them to when they need it the most, especially for you. So this is pretty nice. I do like what they're going for this buff, but they do say they are obviously planning and work on more progress on small reworks to her abilities. So hopefully we'll see where that comes down in the future. But for now, I think this is not bad to start off for the time being. Symmetra getting a small, obviously, increasement to her cost by 10% for her photon barrier. So obviously a little nerf right there to obviously get her ability back more, taking a while, obviously. So that's kind of a nerf right there. Torbjorn, my turret. God damn. Developer comments explain that with the move to the 5v5 and one less player to shoot at it, Torbjorn's turret tends to survive longer than ever. We're reducing its health side to help it feel more less like a 6 player and be easier to deal with once someone turns their attention to it. The health has just been decreased from 250 to 225, so it will now be a little bit less right now to be defeated because it will have a lot less health. So it makes it a little more easier for all you guys trying to shoot out the turrets right there. So that's pretty cool right there. I don't know how much that would do better for that reason, since obviously if you're really good playing Torbjorn, the health might still be kind of much right there, but I think it still is good enough to keep it strong, but also something that won't be too much. So we'll see how that kind of goes for, but nice little nerf right there for all those players right there that might have trouble dealing with Torbjorns and his turrets. So hopefully you guys will have a much easier time on that. I know that for a fact. I really think that they definitely need a nerf right there. Even I know because I play a lot of Torbjorn, so I think that's definitely a much needed nerf indeed, for sure indeed. Widowmaker, obviously, the developer comment explained how much that with 200 health she has, due to concerns of how the increased power of tanks made her too vulnerable to them, is the reason why they added that health. Ultimately, she gains more advantage from 5v5 now when she loses, so they're returning her back to now 175 HP to better enable more heroes to contest her lethal range capabilities. So now she's back at 175 health for her base rather than 200. Obviously, the reason they did this was all the situations with the tanks, but now in this situation, since she's got a better advantage in the 5v5, especially now with also being, of course, herself mostly being like a range character, she has a better advantage. So obviously, hopefully with this low health now, this will make her a little bit more an easy target to take out, but it will still give her quite a challenge to deal with, since she is quite a very sneaky and very kind of range-like character. So big focus right there pretty much on that. Anna got quite of a little nerf to the situation with her biotic grenade. The effect duration has now been reduced from 4 to 3.5 seconds. So obviously the biotic grenade will not last as much longer slightly as usual. A slight nerf, nothing too serious right there. So I don't think that's really too bad at all very much, but this will probably make it a little more quickly so that it can't be used can't be the effects used for too long frequently. Brigitte is now getting quite a buff in this kind of situation a little bit with some slight nerf, I would say. But it's not that terrible at all. The developers did this to help make the repair pack have a little more more agency in saving an injured ally and generally making the ability feel more responsive and impactful for Brigitte. So basically what they did is they nerfed it a little bit by just making it where instead it's 55 health, it's now 50 health per second when using it. However, whenever applying the repair pack, it now instantly heals for 25 health on impact, which is still quite a lot. So honestly, that slight nerf switching basically still is quite a buff. Because think about it, 25 health on first impact and then 50 health every second. That's a lot of health that's going to be brought back to another person very easily. So they basically made the repair pack a little more stronger now, and hopefully that'll be pretty good. Raleigh also got quite of a buff right there. The reduction cost happened by 10%, so it's a little more easy to get her Raleigh up and ready to go. So that's pretty cool right there. Lucio, my man, break it down. Getting a sound barrier buff right there. Cost has been reduced by 7%. So now you can use that sound barrier more frequently and get your buddies healed up very easily there. So bada bing, bada boom. Now we get into quickly a very, very, very big change to one of our best healers. We know, Mercy. There's quite a lot of mix I would say about this stuff. So bear with me. I'm going to get my thoughts on it. So this is a lot of changes right now. A lot of changes. So listen up. First of all is the developer comments. They explain how they were working on this to replace Mercy's regeneration passive ability with a more interesting interaction with something they wanted to do with now all support heroes. That will gain a similar version of it though through their passive role. The Catechist staff changes now will help empower Mercy to be more of a tri-age healer and enable her to more often save low health allies. The overall time it takes to fully heal a 200 health hero, but 1 HP is about the same as before. And Guardian Angel with the cooldown increase is necessary to reduce the greatly increased mobility resulting from the recent rework to the jump cancel, and if enabled to Mercy to quickly launch herself long distances in any direction and be overly evasive for such a short downtime. Yeah, you can see where I'm going to go for right now. So first, let's go ahead and read this and I'll get my thoughts. Guardian Angel. Now the cooldown for the ability has now been increased from 1.5 seconds to 2.5 seconds. So slight little nerf right there to the cooldown, obviously. So it will take a little bit longer for that. Now, if you hold backwards in a directional input and or cancel the ability with a jump, you will now move 20% slower. This is quite a very, very weird nerf to me, and I think it's going to be a very horrible thing to happen. Because with Guardian Angel, I understand they were trying to prevent, obviously, the whole situation with the increased mobility due to the jump cancel situation and trying to make it necessary to help prevent that. But man, that slowdown, especially when you move backwards like that, it's gonna be crazy. So the only way you can be able to do this is if you're gonna attempt this situation, you would need to basically make sure your turnaround forward, or when you start launching it, you better turn around and make a 180 forward if you want to use that movement speed. Otherwise, if you move backwards and using it or do the jump cancel, it'll move 20% slower. So be mindful of that. Be very mindful. Catechist staff, the healing per second now has been reduced from 55 to 45 seconds. So it's kind of a nerf right there. But they do make it quite a buff right here because they said healing is increased by 50% whenever for allies under half health. So basically, it will be a lot more health right now. I don't know exactly how much. Estimately will be 50% from the 45 health right now. It's probably going to be I think 90 health, I think what it is. So it will be very, very quick whenever half health. So if someone's already below the half health situation, they get a little bit more. I only say 90 health because that's what I'm just counting in my head right now. I don't know why, but I don't know what the estimate is, so pardon me. Maybe someone knows better than me. You guys let me know in the comments below if you guys know how to study this stuff more than I do. But hey, 50% increasement of the health percent per second situation when allies are under health. This will really encourage you to really focus on a lot of very low health teammates, so they'll be back up very quickly, and then it just goes back to normal. So I do like this. I do like this really nicely. So this is a nice little buff to make up for this. And obviously, like they mentioned, they removed her regeneration passive ability, which is typically just slowly returns health every so often, a few seconds after not getting damage, to a new one, which apparently they said they are going to be planning to use for maybe wanting to do for all support heroes. So who knows? We'll be seeing maybe more other support heroes getting this taste as well. And that is the sympathetic recovery passive. And what this states is that Mercy will heal herself for 25% of healing done with the Catechist staff. So basically their encouragement here is that instead of just simply getting your health back just already after a few seconds when you're not getting damaged, now they're encouraging you to really work to get the health back. They don't exactly say how much health you get back. Probably it's gonna be the same amount, probably normal from the normal regeneration passive ability. But now you need to at least heal your teammates about 25% at least in order to return that health back. So this encourages you to work hard to basically get the health back instead of just running out of there and recovering your health. Or you have to go look around and find med packs as usual as well. So I see what they're going for right here. My thoughts so far with this is that, well, I do really don't mind some of these changes a little bit. I could feel like that this nerfs to Mercy is quite an insane choice in many situations. I mean, so far to me, the Guardian Angel one is probably the more very picky one, I would say. I'm a little concerned for how that situation, even though I understand the point of that, I just don't know how I'm going to feel about that very much. So we'll see how gameplay goes for that. Maybe if they decide to, maybe they'll slow down movement speed to that, maybe from 20% to like 10, 15% maybe or something like that. But either way, we'll see how that kind of plays out. But the Catechist Staff one, I don't mind. I'm glad they added something pretty cool for that. Healing for under half health, about 50%. And the new Regeneration Pass ability, the Sympathetic Recovery one they're doing right there. Might be pretty interesting to see. They encourage more playstyle for healing to get health back for yourself. So I do like where they're going for. Work hard to get something in return. So we'll see how that plays out very much. So I'll give that a chance for sure. Moira, obviously, getting quite a buff right there to her Coalescence. She's now going to have her cost reduced by 5%. So you'll get Coalescence pretty quickly, very much. Zenyatta definitely got quite actually a buff to the situation. The developers comment saying that they've been discussing options to potentially increase Zenyatta's survivability. We've seen previously in the beta that Zenyatta is on somewhat of a nice edge for balance. Even just 25 more shield health pushed him into overpowered must-pick territory at the pro level. To balance his power damage output, the lack of mobility is an intentional disadvantage by design, so we prefer not to change that too much. Instead, they are adding more ammo to lengthen the times between when Zenyatta is most vulnerable, which is when he's reloading. So obviously, they gave more ammo to be used, but now they also basically give him that ammo to make it where it increased the length time between when Zenyatta where he's most vulnerable, since usually to him, obviously mobility is one thing for that situation, but they don't want to nerf the situation, but they want to do something about the fact that due to him obviously having like that 25 more shield health, pushing him into the overall pick to the area pretty much and keeping him alive a little more often. So that damage increase, not damage increase, ammo increase from 20 to 25 will now require him to shoot a little bit more before reloading. And obviously when he gets to that reload point, he will need to go through that situation that will give him a little more delay to that very much. So we'll see how that kind of goes. So a little bit kind of a buff in this situation, but I think also intentionally just to make it more lengthened to the times when he's most vulnerable, which again is just when he's reloading, of course. Finally, last but not least, I'll mention real quick is, of course, the Season 3 map pools, which includes, obviously, Push having Morning New Queen Street, the new Morning Coliseo, and Morning Esperanza. Hybrid will have Blizzard World, Morning, Evening Kings Row, Morning Midtown, Morning Nabani, and Morning Paraiso. Esco will have Night Dorado, the new Night Havana, Morning Junkertown, the new Morning Circuit Royale, Morning Rialto, and Night Shambali Monastery. And Control will have the new map, obviously Antarctic Peninsula, which will be in night, of course. Maybe they'll do a day one down the line, maybe, of course. Morning Ilios, Night Lijiang Tower, Evening Nepal, and finally, Evening Oasis. Of course, obviously, that's not everything. Obviously, there are still some quite bug fixes and other related patches that they go through as well. I will put the link to the patch notes in the description below if you want to go read it yourself. And definitely, I know with the update release, you're probably surely going to go test it out as well. I'm going to be doing that very soon myself for sure. That's all I had to say for this update. So far, I think it's a pretty good update so far for the new season. There is going to be definitely a lot of big different changes to a lot of stuff right there that we will be expecting, obviously, whether it be pretty much from many cool stuff like obviously the different hero changes, even though there were some crazy ones like the Reinhardt and Mercy one I've been questioning about, to even also the brand new competitive stuff, the streamer cool little feature that we're gonna add to help prevent stuff right there, which will be interesting. Obviously, the new cool idea of adding back Overwatch credits back in the game now into the Battle Pass, and just overall the new map being released and some pretty cool stuff. So this is really nice so far. I do really like what this update's going for. Who knows what to expect down the line in the future. So I'll be definitely keeping an eye out and give my thoughts on that for sure, and let you guys know what I think. But I will definitely like to hear your thoughts, obviously. So definitely leave in the comment section below, and I will be happy to hear what your thoughts are. But anyway, with that being said, though, that is going to be it for the update. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I really had a great time talking about this. Definitely looking forward to it. I will probably be streaming this down the line, obviously, of course. soon to kind of get my thoughts on it. But I'm going to be playing this a little bit myself, so keep an eye out for that indeed, guys. Definitely keep an eye out and let me know definitely your thoughts for sure on everything. I would like to hear that. And I will hopefully hear some advice and some stuff too, because there might be a couple of things I missed or I messed up, so I would definitely want to hear back on that to learn from it. So this would be kind of pretty cool indeed. With that being said, though, thank you everyone so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day at the pizza party. Take care, everyone, and keep on partying. Enjoy Overwatch 2 Season 3, everyone.